Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to I Screened. You Screen for Movies for Sunday, July 23rd. Fuck it. It's our off feed, and we're doing it live. It's Barbeheimer week, ladies and gentlemen. What a weekend to review
We'll do
both
it
these
live.
movies on my show. And let's go ahead and get started. My name's Danny, and today I have a welcoming, returning guest for my last season of I Screened, You Screen for Movies. You see him on the face. He's pumping all over.
Let's
And this
go.
guy is from my Batman pre-hype episode a while ago. So everyone, this is Savon Thomas from Coffee and Comments. Welcome back to the show, man.
Appreciate it, man. It's good to come back. It's kind of weird. You said I forgot which one we did, and it was Batman. I'm like, dang, that was such a long time ago.
Yeah,
Like,
time flies, really.
dude, like super. That's crazy. But I'm excited, bro. Oppenheimer was phenomenal, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so this episode, as you're all listening, I decided to separate these episodes for Barbie and Oppenheimer. I think it's to be the best. So as you're listening to this episode, I'm reviewing Oppenheimer. And the Barbie episode, if you're listening, this Oppenheimer episode, I will be dropping the Barbie review later this week with two guests as well. So for now, you're listening to Oppenheimer with Savon Thomas. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So
For sure.
Christopher Nolan is back, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only. First of all, I did not love Tenet. I think it's one of his not worst movies, but I hate that movie so much. It was too confusing. And then when he was doing Oppenheimer as a biopic, I'm like, it's interesting because Oppenheimer seems to have like great tone and atmosphere, which is what I actually went into this movie like it's gonna be serious. And so much to talk about Oppenheimer. So let's go ahead and get started. So Savon, you are the guest. What is your quick thoughts to Oppenheimer before we delve into topics?
Yeah. So for me, well, I just want to touch on Tenet real quick. I enjoyed Tenet. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Nolan film, but I did enjoy it because it just made me think. You're like, what the hell is going on here? I have to rewatch it to kind of understand a little bit more. Again, but I'm just a Nolan fan, so like crazy shit that he does, I enjoy it regardless. But Oppenheimer, I didn't really have like a good backstory to like who the guy was. All I knew was that he created the atomic bomb, and I was like, "What is this movie going to be about?" And I watched the trailer. Obviously, super excited for it. And overall, man, the movie I enjoyed it. It was phenomenal, in my opinion. The acting was just so top notch. The filming, like the different scenes, the filmography that they were doing, cinematography, it was amazing. So we'll dive into that. But overall, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Oh, that's awesome. Great to hear your thoughts. And for me, by the way, I'm not a biopic guy, so I never watch biopics often. But because this is by Christopher Nolan, who would I actually see a movie that's not by Christopher Nolan, but Christopher Nolan himself? If it wasn't for him, I would not see this movie. But because what he has to offer, since he's done other movies, it looked like it was going to be serious. So my quick thoughts: it was a phenomenal biopic. Actually, I probably won't be able to see it again because it's just too damn long at home. But I think I'll remember the good stuff from this movie on the big screen. It's just wonderful. Oppenheimer is something on the big screen, and that's meant to be seen how what Tom Cruise and Nolan will want. Had to shake my camera for a sec, but yeah. So technically, Oppenheimer was a phenomenon. Can't complain.
Agreed.
Everything was so good. The scripting, the casting, performance. Oh my god, it's just wow. It's like probably one of the best movies of this year, even for everyone's sake. And this is clearly a great film of Nolan's. Not the best, because to me, my issue is it's the runtime. It didn't drag down, but I didn't like how long biopics be like this. But I understand it's a backstory of Oppenheimer, so I get it. But if you can stoke in just to watch on the big screen, you're gonna have a great time because I think it's just all the atmosphere and tone is just great. That's all you need to know. So
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The runtime was long, 3 hours. I was like, man, it's gonna be quite the show. And then like when we got to the bomb part, I thought we were just done there, but then it felt like a whole nother movie with with the trial. Like when I was watching, I'm like, dang, this feels like we just went from what I thought we were talking about majority of the movie to like the whole trial piece, and like that felt like another. I mean, it's a whole another hour, just that portion of everything. So I was like, man, this is a long movie. But like you said, you need to tell the full story, so it makes sense why he did 3 hours. But it is 3 hours, so that is a long time sitting in the theater chair.
oh, totally, totally. All right, so let's talk about real quick the Barbenheimer factor. So this movie was memed and marketed through the Barbie stuff. So It's actually interesting they did this for months, and it actually got the big buzz to not
Mhm.
Barbie, but Oppenheimer as well, which explained the fact that many people are seeing both these movies in day one of release, July 21st. Both these movies came out, and it made like good money the opening day. Just to quickly report the box office, it's actually bigger than expected. So both these movies were over projecting big time. According to Barbie, made 70 million, and and Oppenheimer made 33. So that was gonna over project well. And as of today of recording, Barbie obviously won the weekend with a big opening weekend that beat Super Mario, which made 155. Oppenheimer over project 80 something million, which is incredible. So everyone somewhat either came out to see both these movies or just obviously pick one. But most of
Yeah.
them, I think, would be Barbie if you're like a female or something. Not to be objectively against it, but I'm just saying if you're a girl living in the Barbie world, you'd probably be picking Barbie in this case. But if you live in the world of Nolan and the big screen, you just probably pick Oppenheimer for the sake of it.
Yeah, it
So,
was kind of crazy going to the movie theater because it was kind of funny. Like you see like the different crowds. You see like people dressed regular, and you see people dressed up super pink, and you're like, okay, you either these people are going to go see Barbie, and then you see people just like I don't know. I was dressed pretty normal, and I guess I was going to see Oppenheimer. So it was crazy. In both theaters or like wherever the showings were full, were packed. I went to IMAX to see it because that's what you need to see it in. But
oh
like
yeah, I want to ask.
Barbie was packed, and so like you just see you leave a theater, and it's like there's just hordes of pink walking by you, and so it's hilarious to see like that dichotomy between the Oppenheimer people and the Barbie people, and then the mixture of people going to see both the movies.
It's crazy. That's what makes it very good. And clearly, you need cinema. And both these movies are a
Right.
win-win. One directed by
Yep.
Greta Gerwig, one by Christopher Nolan. It's actually a great way to even get people to get out there and telling people theatrical's back. It's not going to die. Barbie and Oppenheimer ruled that. And they
Yep.
managed to do that with both these movies are both phenomenons than just one movie. And the best part is none of these are sequels, IPs, or comic books. This is what we need. These are the movies that we need. Okay, Barbie is an IP, but as a live action, it's a big deal. It looked like it was going to be so good. And then Oppenheimer, another Christopher Nolan, it also isn't a superhero or comic book. It's a
Yep.
comedy and a biopic. Both these movies are well served for the cinemas. It's great. What a week to strive. All right, but I
Fantastic.
think we're ready to get down to everything we need to talk about for Oppenheimer. So let's talk about the cast because obviously the cast are big major deals. So who do you want to discuss first on your behalf,
I
Savon?
mean, we got to start with the main actor. I mean, Cillian Murphy crushed it, so we got to start there. Like, that's what I want to talk about first, man. He was phenomenal. Like, like his acting chops, dude. Like, it's kind of crazy because like I obviously know him for Peaky Blinders. He's been in a number of movies. Obviously, he was in Batman too.
He was
When
in
that's the one
Quiet
we
Place
watched.
2 as well, which is actually my favorite films of his as a support.
Yeah, and so like, but him as like the lead man, it's like he like his personality just ranges so well, and so like him and his character, like playing the role, he looked like I don't know, I won't say look like a scientist, but he did, and like everything he was doing has made him I don't know, like he played this role to perfection, in my opinion. Like his the way he acted, like his emotional range, like things going on, like him being stressed, like it was just for me, Killian Murphy just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a great job, and I never see his movies often, but like I said, Quiet Place 2, Inception, he was in that as a support. Actually, he was in Dunkirk, but I didn't see it, but I heard he was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders. My brother is a big Peaky Blinders fan. He loves that show, and I only seen like a little bit of the show, but he did a great job. It reminds me of that kind of atmosphere when he plays in Peaky Blinders and Oppenheimer as the main lead
Yeah.
role. That's a difference.
Yeah.
That's why I think Christopher Nolan cast him as a perfect job person too. And actually, he collabed with him before too. But he completely nailed it well as like the James Robert Oppenheimer, and he blew up the whole world in shadows. It's great, not in a bad way, but a great way. I mean, Oscar wise, do you think he'll get nominated for like best actor or something?
I mean, he definitely be nominated because he did great. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
more so. I think RDJ will probably be nominated as a support role. But Killian Murphy, because
I
he did a
can't
good
wait to
job, I
talk
think.
about RDJ.
Yeah,
Man,
I think he did great too. Like I think his role would definitely be nominated. But Killian Murphy again, I loved him in his character, so I think he probably will be at least nominated.
Yeah, I agree. So Oppenheimer is tend to be to tell everyone. Oppenheimer is tend to be also an Oscar play, and this looks like it'd be a shaping one to be shaping for that. It's obviously going to compete against Killers of the Flower Moon, Lawrence Scorsese, and Dune 2. And I can't think of other Best Picture not contenders, but Oppenheimer looks like it's promising. That's for sure. That people are going to talk about for centuries.
Yeah.
With Killing Murphy, it's great.
Yeah, no,
All
Dune
right.
2, Dune 2 is definitely gonna give it a run for its money.
Oh, Dune 2, man. Yeah, I'm excited for that movie. If it doesn't get delayed, which I'm going to be upset if the strike happens, which
Yeah.
I forgot to talk about the strike, but we'll get to that at the end of it. But let's go down to Emily Blunt, great
Okay.
actress. I love
Mhm.
her stuff. I love her accent. I love the English accent. I love everything about Emily Blunt. Beautiful,
Yeah.
great, respectable woman. Did a great job as Kitty Oppenheimer. Very nice. I can't
Dude,
complain here.
I mean, Emily. I don't know. For me, the acting was so phenomenal in this, and my favorite moment for Emily Blunt was the monologue at the end. With I forgot the lawyer's name, but when she's defending Oppenheimer, and she's just giving it to, I think it's like Richard. Was it Richard? Or I forget the guy's name
So
that
many
was
characters
the
I
character.
can't get in my head. I don't even know most of these
Yeah,
characters.
I forget
That's
the character's
the main one.
name, but she's just like the delivery of that scene was so perfect. And like every single like moment of Emily Blunt, like you're like, man, like that character is like dynamic where she was like a fierce woman, badass woman that even though Oppenheimer obviously cheated on her, she delivered like just the motivation and the opinions that he needed to keep like his life going in that situation. And so Emily Blunt played that role so perfectly when she slapped him, in the fields because he was like down because of the girl, and then like her delivery in that scene. I was like, man, Emily Blunt is the acting is just. I literally was like, this is fantastic. I love that
Best
monologue she gave.
best supporting actress. It's hard to tell, but Emily Blunt just great to do what she does.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't think she's got an Oscar before, hasn't she? I can't even put my thought
not
to
that I
it.
remember, not top of mind. When it comes to like that, I'm like, maybe, but not too sure.
Do you have any favorite films of hers? Mine's like Quiet Place, The
Quiet
Adjustment
Place.
Bureau. One of those are great.
I would say Quiet Place. That's been the one I've known her most from, so I would say that's my favorite of hers.
I get it. Cool. All right. Matt Damon also plays Leslie Groves, and great actor. Actually keeps his own tone and own performance for years. And he's in a Christopher Nolan movie. And this is funny. Him and Emily Blunt reunite in this movie, not as a couple this time, unlike the Adjustment Bureau. But actually, Matt Damon was great to the addition. I like it. What do you think of Matt Damon in this movie?
Yeah, I appreciate his character because he brought the comedy. Like he brought the different like vibe, the different feel. Because everybody else was so like serious, and he is serious too, but from a different perspective. Obviously, military background, but then he also provided comic relief, which is interesting for Matt Damon because I really don't see him as like a funny person. But he has, I mean, obviously you can crack a joke here and there if there's good writing, it doesn't really matter. But Matt Damon, he did a great job. Good support role. I mean, I wasn't like overly impressed, but he did make me laugh, and he did bring like different dynamics to the situation. Overall, his character was a good guy too. Like, hey, I mean, he's the one that commissioned Oppie to do the whole deal. So,
Yeah.
I liked Matt Damon in that role. It was very surprising when I saw him on screen too. I was like, "Oh, Matt!" Because I forgot. Like, every single time I saw like another actor pop up, I was like, "Oh, they're in this too."
Met so many castings, and a lot of them, including Matt Damon, was a great choice. I gotta say that was
Absolutely.
great portrayal of Leslie Groves. Very good job of this guy. Very doing his job well. I like
Mhm.
it. Florence Pugh. I began to love his actress so much. I mean, as a support, she did a good job, and we're not gonna spoil so much of what happened, but great, great support, and because there is involved a sex scene with him and Oppenheimer. So I mean, yeah, that's the stinger right there. Everyone knows there's sex in this movie, but I'll tell you, it's not that bad. I'm not the type of guy who enjoys or fathom watching sex stuff. I'm not a pornography sex guy, of course. I mean, look, I'm just saying I'm not that type of person to enjoy this stuff. But I sucked it up and just said to myself, I cannot see that.
Well, it was a weird scene too, like this
Yeah.
the scene that popped up.
I'm
But
surprised about that, honestly, when they said there was gonna be sex. I'm like, wow, really? No wonder it's rated R.
yeah, it just
Okay.
and that's interesting. It's an interesting shift for Florence Pugh because I feel like all her roles. I mean, she was in Marvel stuff, right? And then obviously other movies too, Midsummer.
Puss
But
in
like,
Boots. She was a voice in Puss in Boots.
yeah. So it's like it's just interesting, like to see her kind of shift a little bit. I don't know because I haven't watched Midsummer, so I don't know if like she had any nude roles in that. So it's kind of like interesting to be like I don't know if it's like you have to be a nude in some type of movie, so, like if you're in Hollywood. But it was interesting to me. I was like, I wonder why she took that role. Maybe because everybody wants to be in this movie, or she just it was a good role to be a part
Oh,
of.
that's a
But
great way to put her name out because Florence Pugh is already becoming a rising star. So the more
true,
movies she's
very
in,
very
she's
true.
got Dune next. This is going to be interesting. I'm excited to see her in that movie as well as the princess. So a lot of the movies she's going to, she's even in Thunderbolts, returning as a character from Black Widow. Forgot to say her name, but she's returning in these Marvel movies as the character. Thunderbolts is coming out next year if it doesn't get delayed.
Yeah,
But
which
yeah,
is
Florence
interesting. I
Pugh.
wonder. I wonder if people are gonna remember this movie and then see her on, like the next movie and be like,
Yeah, probably, man. That's all she's infamous for this movie, but you know what? She's did a good job, anyways. I liked just the aspect of her performance. She's done a good job. Can't complain
yeah,
with her.
she did do a good job. Yeah, for sure.
All right, but I think we're ready to get down to the most big one. And supporting actor wise, people are talking about this guy for come, even for me. Robbie Downey Jr., aka Iron Man Tony Stark himself, playing as Leslie Strauss.
Yep,
No, actually not Leslie Strauss, Louis Strauss. My bad.
Louis
Fucking
Ross.
raw feed. That was a great scenes of him. Black and white with him and color with him. Wow. I mean, Robbie Downey Jr. just. I mean, Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. went from Tony Stark to Louis Strauss. What a change of aspect. What a great performance this guy put up a show for. Great supporting actor, did an amazing job, and very interesting character he played. Anything you want to say on his part?
Yeah, I mean, he's Robert Downey Jr. So it's so crazy his like history in acting, like where he came from to like where he is today. Because like if you ask any like Gen Z kid, they think of Robert Downey Jr. They nobody even knows that he was like this down and out actor that was going to jail and all this other stuff. Now they just know him as Tony Stark. And then obviously for me, one of my favorite Robert Downey Jr. movies is Tropic Thunder. So like that's he has a lot of range in movies. So this movie he was in, I was like, man, this is phenomenal because this is the first time I've seen him since Marvel, right? Since him doing Tony, playing Tony Stark all these years, and so like that role, like he got to like, oh, he crushed it because like he played the villain because I mean in the movie, I mean anyway, I don't think I ruined anything. Did I ruin something there? Hopefully not. But if you know the story, you figure it out. But he played that role so perfectly, right? Like it's just you can feel the animosity, you can feel the that feeling that he has for Oppenheimer. So I thought I gave a little bit too much, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Hey, it's all right because I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are suggesting him to win Best Supporting Actor, which will likely to happen. Nominated and possibly winning. He's probably gonna go up against Ryan Gosling. Is all I know for his role in Barbie. But I'm on the side for Robbie Downey Jr. in this one for sure.
Yeah,
Very good job, this guy. Can't complain. What an amazing supporting actor of this guy.
phenomenal.
So that's a lot of much of the castings. I mean, is there anyone else you want to touch base or mention that
Yeah,
are
Rami
supporters?
Malek. Rami Malek was a
Oh yeah,
surprise.
Rami Malek. Yeah,
Rami
yeah.
Malek, he was a surprise, but he delivered. He delivered. Like he was a like side. He wasn't that big of a like deal within the movie, but when he had to deliver his like performance, it was. I mean, he did a great job. Like he crushed it. And then for me, the biggest surprise of this movie was seeing Josh Peck
Oh
show
yeah.
up. I was like, "What are you doing here, Josh?" And like the whole time I was in the theater, I was waiting for like Megan to pop out and him be like Megan, like from the show. So
Drake
like
and
that was
Josh.
so
Yes.
funny to see him like pop in there, and he really didn't have any. Like, I think he had like 2 or 3 lines. It wasn't too much, which I understand because he wasn't like the main show part. He was just, I mean, another person, another scientist. But like Josh Peck being in there was funny to me. But Rami Malek was another actor in the movie that I was like, man, that was a good casting choice.
Oh yeah. Josh Peck was also my favorite support because from Drake and Josh. People remembers his name, and it's interesting he's in this film. He's like, well, it was like, wow, when they just announced the casting of him. I'm like, wow, Christopher Nolan's going all out with these portrayal castings in this biopic film. So many
Yeah.
almost great underrated stars that are in these supports. I mean, it's crazy. There's just so much to get into, but I think the floor ones we covered a lot was Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robbie Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, and you touched
Yep.
Race, Rami Malek, and we touched Josh Beck. I don't think there's anyone else. I can't think of anyone. And if there's anyone I'm missing that you like, I mean, hey, my YouTube comments is available if you're watching this on YouTube, or email me at deskamlaji@gmail.com if I'm missing anybody or are we missing anybody. So
Yeah.
that's
Roast
the
us in
only
the
way.
comments. Roast us in the comments if you missed somebody.
Yes. All right. So I think we're gonna get down to like Nolan himself. Now he's not like a movie screen star, but he is a butts in the seat star, as I'm saying. Great
Absolutely.
director, visionary director of all time, and great direction with this movie. Especially what he went with this movie gives us the horror story of vibes. When I say that, the atmosphere and tone were the big things that blew us away. What he did,
Yep.
not how he wrote the story, but how he directed the scenes and story. Like it was
Yep.
crazy. I love that because that got me my heart beating at somewhat like later in the third act of the movie. And most of the time with the sound system with it, every time there's like a certain scenes where the loud scene keeps on banging, banging, banging or something. I don't know. I don't know how to describe the scene, these sounds, but it just it just puts me on edge of my seat how these sounds are going on and on and on. It's just wow. Nolan just keeps everybody pressured, edge on their seat, and just
Yep.
scared to see what happens. It's just that's the atmosphere of that movie. That's what I loved about this. It's the feel. It's the whole
Mhm.
feel, and you have to see on the big screen to like even witness the sound, which I did see on the PLF. You did see it in IMAX. And I think we'll get to a little sub on that. I mean, you did see an IMAX. I didn't see an IMAX, but I go to a theater called Imagine. They have this
Mhm.
format called Super IMAX. It's like a
Okay.
widescreen. It's not IMAX, but it looked like it's not IMAX technically. I'm saying, but it's just a widescreen and louder
Yeah.
sounds. So close enough. It's a PLF. So I did see that in that, and it's still providing me the same kind of feel. So that's what I actually liked about this whole Nolan's direction, atmosphere, tone,
Yeah.
and with a screen like that and the way it's shot, cinematography wise, IMAX, black and white, everything was crazy good. Man, no doubt. This is even. I'm not a black and white guy. I thought the whole movie would be about black and white. But I'm like, thank
Mhm.
God, because I can withstand like half the scenes in black and white and color too.
Yeah.
Other than that, those were great shots, great direction, story. Like, wow, it's just too much to bear in. Anything you want to comment on, Savon?
Absolutely, dude. I was, I didn't want to cut you off or anything. I want to let you finish your
No, it's
talk,
okay. It's
but
okay. It's a raw feed. Go
but
ahead.
no, it was, dude. It was amazing. Like that's kind of like been my thought process of this entire thing. Like what I loved about this movie was the acting and the cinematography, like the shots, the scenes. I found myself often being like, man, this is a great shot, right? There was like some over the shoulder shots when like out of focus camera shots. Like obviously the depiction between black and white and then the colored. So you kind of like figuring out like pieces of the story and everything is going on. Like I loved it. And like you were saying, there were so many parts of the movie where like you're on edge, right? And it's kind of weird to think about that because the story there's not an action story. I mean, obviously the action being obviously the explosion, but like it's not really like an action story. It's kind of like you said, a biopic about this person's life and the building of the atomic bomb. And so like, but I just found myself like getting excited when he starts like putting together the team, right? And you have like the scientists you're going to recruit, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like as much as like it's not like again, my mind like action builds this this drama or suspense, but like this movie, it was just like seeing things happen, and then the build up to them building the atomic bomb, like the way he put the different scenes together, and like the cut scenes when like he was like laying in his bed and like there's flashes of the bomb or atoms splitting or whatever thing is going on. And then in IMAX, it's like huge screen. You're watching this and you're like, this is so visually like beautiful. Like, it was like the what it looked like on screen. I'm like, this is beautiful. You can feel the sounds, everything coming, you can feel it. it was, I don't know, man. It was well done, well directed by Nolan. The story, good. I enjoyed the story, but literally, I was more captured by the visuals and the score, because the score definitely draws you in. Like hearing the sounds, hearing the music, the build up, the crescendos. Like you feel like you're there sometimes. And like obviously the bomb drops, and you're like blown away by what's going on. But man, this was I was just this great. It was from Nolan. Great, I'd say.
The best part is I want to mention the visuals. So everything that is like on screen, like the explosion and like the visions of Oppenheimer, all this is the best part that isn't CGI. It's been said he used real scientist stuff that he even worked with them to make it just like
Really?
surreal. Yes. Even
Wow.
the explosion, the bomb that happened isn't CGI. It's real. It's
Wow.
crazy what he perfect and what he achieved. But Nolan just knows how to bounce greatly and make this surreal. That's that's the whole part of this visuals. His visual game was just top notch. I think this is the first time he doesn't use CGI for much of the movies like this, but it's greatly well executed, well done, and well shown. Which
Yeah, that's
really
crazy. That's crazy.
crazy.
And it's not to not use CGI for an explosion is crazy.
Oh yeah. It's been said like a while ago before the movie came out that this was gonna be not much CGI, but this is
Yeah,
real. It's actually
that makes
very
the movie
good.
even better. That makes it even better.
Totally. All right. So there's so much well, that's everything we discussed. We even touched base on the cinematography and even in black and white stuff. I even touched base on that. We saw it in PLFs, which either way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna see this movie, which it is gonna be in IMAX for weeks, just so real quick, if you're gonna see this in like 70 if you're planning to at this point, um they're not going to play previews, so you have to be there extremely on time. Let's say if it starts at 7, the previews aren't going to start at 7. It'll just start the movie because the machine projector they're using doesn't have previews in that format, 70 So you'll have to like be there on time and just watch it just in time. So I'm saying is say this on the biggest screen you can. It has 3 weeks of PLFs. So it's your chance to catch it. And even with Oppenheimer, it's got great buzz and an A cinema score. So it's going to have great legs throughout the whole month of August going to that. And it's just going to be very, very promising. Another win of Nolan's books for sure. So,
Absolutely. So what would you this question for you, what would you
yeah.
rank this among Nolan's films? Would you say
Oh,
you put it number one?
honestly, I love Inception as my favorite.
Okay.
And man, if I did see the other ones like Dunkirk, Interstellar, like I just can't watch those because watching them at home is just nothing to me. I just get lazy like that, okay? And to listen to the people listening, I just can't watch them on a
Yeah.
small screen. I want to see them on the big screen. And I regret not even give a shit when I was going to movie going as a kid, okay? Like Interstellar came out, I was like freshman. Dunkirk before my senior year.
Mhm.
Other these Nolan stuff came out as a kid. I mean, I didn't have power of movie going until I got out of high school afterwards, and I began to strive on that. So
Mm.
whatever they re-release someday, whatever there's some kind of like celebration or something, I might as well go check them out to see, hey, if it's a big screen worthy. Hey, it's a like seeing on a standard anyways would be great. I mean, I can't know when they're gonna re-release, but it's just in the past, so I can't rank them on my behalf, but I'm hoping you can. But on me, Inception is my favorite. It's my
Yeah.
favorite. Oppenheimer is definitely my top 3 for sure of my favorite Nolan films,
Yeah,
and
I'd say the
definitely.
same. So I'd say the same. So Oppenheimer for me, and so you're right. For me, Inception is number one. Like that's been a movie I rewatch pretty often. So and just the that's where I was introduced to Nolan. Like I really didn't watch the Batman movies until actually recently, when we did the Batman review. But so for me, like Nolan is Inception, Nolan is Interstellar. So for me, those two movies or like what I love about him, like the different thought process, different perspectives. So this film, I would say right now is at 3. I'm definitely gonna rewatch it at some point. I probably not in theaters, but at home I probably will rewatch it, and maybe it's gonna maybe jump up there. But Inception and Interstellar both captured my mind. Oppenheimer does as well, but not from like a plot perspective. Like it was good to see the story and everything is like that's especially like the trial, and I love how they included Albert Einstein too. I was like, that's
Oh
wild.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. So this movie is probably I would say three. Uh, I haven't seen Dunkirk, but I've seen everything else. So I need to add Dunkirk to my list of movies from Nolan. But everything else I've seen from him, all the Batman movies, obviously, those are phenomenal. But yeah, so I'll probably put this at three because Inception and Interstellar are just so intertwined in my life that I
And what
couldn't.
about you guys for the listeners? What do you have ranks for the Nolan movies? Jump in the comments on YouTube or email me or comment my audiogram if you have your ranks, your favorites. For me, also Tenet is my worst movie of Nolan's. I just don't love that movie. I just can't stop thinking about it. Every time I think about this movie, it's just wow. I hate watching time stuff. It's just annoying.
I love it. Dude. So Interstellar. I know we kind of off topic now, but Interstellar, you don't like that movie because that's about time. It's about the fourth dimension.
I mean, space time continuum. I mean,
Yeah,
I get it. I get it how it all works. I mean,
but just
um,
the backward stuff. You're like, get out of here. I don't like that.
yeah, Tenet's just way more confusing. I
It was
didn't find it
confusing.
just intriguing in retrospect. That's all I'm saying.
I feel you. I feel you.
But yeah, everyone, if you have your rankings, like I said, jump in the comments on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're a podcast listener, go check out the video and just leave your comments there, and then email me, comment the audiogram, a video of clip, and then just support the cause because we love to hear what your thoughts are for these rankings. So that's a preferably ideal. Yeah, I guess that's almost everything. Is there anything else you want to touch base on before we get off the air? Because that's everything we discussed on Oppenheimer and Nolan.
No, I mean, yeah, man. It's like you said. I would just say if you're watching this right now and you're wondering if you should go see Oppenheimer, go see it. I know the 3 hour runtime can be a little like daunting, even for me. Like I had to make sure that I got like an early showing because I wasn't trying to be in the theater at like 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning watching this movie. So, but go see it because it is definitely worth it. And I love the fact that movies are back, right? I know Danny mentioned it earlier, but the fact that like these two movies aren't like the comic book movies, they aren't like what is has been popular for the past. Really, it seems like since Marvel, the inception of Marvel, it seems like that's kind of been like the standard of movies, just like comic book movies and comic book stuff. So the fact that this is like a true movie, true film, I love that because I want more of that. And Hollywood only respects what the numbers show. So if we, I mean, as a collective of people, if we want to see different movies, new stuff, innovative stuff like this, then go support it, right? I know people love Barbie. I haven't seen the Barbie movie yet. I look forward to seeing it. But that movie too, like Hollywood will branch out and do different things that we as a consumer support. So definitely go see it. It's worth it. It's phenomenal. And it's one of those movies where if you're just like an average moviegoer and you really don't watch the Oscars, this will be one movie that actually pops up. You're like, actually, I've seen that movie and I know those people, and I watched that movie. Versus like some movies, you're like, I have no idea what this movie even was made or who these people are. Sometimes that's how I feel as I'm watching the Oscars. I'm like, what is this movie? I didn't even hear about this movie. So great movie. Go watch it. That's my thoughts.
Like you said, go check out Oppenheimer before the IMAX and everything gets taken away in the next few weeks because I believe Gran Turismo is going to get these PLFs. So if you want to see us on the biggest screen, go check out Oppenheimer. You have like 3 weeks if you haven't seen it. For those watching or listening, great chance to see it. What could be witnessing the history of the world change forever. And that will give you the thrills and chills.
Yep. Absolutely.
Real quick before we get off, I do want to touch base a little bit about something going on in the real world where the actors and writers are on strike. And I said I would touch this momentarily, and because we do feel bad that actors and writers aren't getting paid fairly, and there hasn't been great marketings to future movies. Even like I said, Dune might get pushed, and I'm scared because it's actually one of my top 3 of this year. So we hope for the best. The studios and whoever's in charge of the whole head of the movie industry will change their hearts to go pay their actors and writers fairly and not to abuse the AI technology too, because that kind of will take away such prophecy of what humans meant to make movies for. It's just bad. What do you think of the whole thing going on, Savon?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I saw a quote like that Barstool like movie whatever posted, and it was like some studio executive said that the end goal of this is for people to lose their houses, and it's like, who are these people that just are so against like people getting paid? Like you have these actors, and actors are well paid, not all of them, but the bigger ones. But it's just like pay the people. Like don't be lazy. AI is kind of like this crazy new thing, and it's gonna be interesting to see kind of how the movie scene shifts in the next year or two. Because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that doesn't get done. Like a lot of TV shows probably won't be made. So it's gonna be interesting to see like what happens over the next couple of years to the movie market. Because there's a lot of momentum, coming out of COVID to like the past couple of years of like blockbusters coming out, and then we have obviously Oppenheimer and Barbie, and then to slow that down would be kind of tough. Because people are going to the theaters. So why drag them out of the theaters if there's not movies coming out?
Exactly. So, well, these marketing's not been happening with actors not promoting their products. Few of the movies, like Dune, for instance, could get pushed to next year and possibly come other films. But I'm assuming the strike would hopefully end around mid-August. I'm hoping this will finally change, but we will see what happens. But we all do support everyone listening and watching. We do support the actors and writers. So let's pray for the best, that the marketing place and everything of these Hollywood industries is just well safe and said, and well figured out soon for the best. I got nothing else to comment, but we hope for the best that things will return normal, as we're hoping we're not going to go into another COVID time where all movies were not shut down but delayed, inevitable, and all
Yep.
over. So
And
let's
that's not what
hope
we
and
want.
pray.
'Cause I want good movies. I want good shows. I like
Yeah,
being
me
in the
too.
theater, man. It's been fun to be back in the theater.
Totally, totally. All right, Savon, thank you so much for being on my show again. Having you for Christopher Nolan movie was a great success on my end. So honestly, it's better than have like I was gonna do Elemental when you and I were scheduled, but then I decided to not do it because it's not worth my hype to watch the movie. But it's doing great at the box office otherwise, even though not it's gonna be success. But the legs are so promising. But
Yeah,
you did see the movie after all, so it's on
I
your
did.
channel, I believe.
It is. I did a review for it. It was an interesting movie to watch too. It was a Disney's romance movie. It was so interesting. It's about like interracial dating.
Yeah.
It's an interesting movie to go see. I didn't know what I was gonna go see. I thought it was like a little kid movie to be fun. It was like, no, this is like real life out here.
Yeah. You're gonna do your Oppenheimer to make sure the listeners can find you and all. You have a YouTube channel that people can watch you on. You're gonna do your Oppenheimer review, correct?
Yes, so actually that'll be posted this week. But yeah, you guys can find me. I mean, the signs behind me. This coffee and comments on YouTube. That's my channel. Also on Instagram, same thing, coffee and comments. You guys can find me there. YouTube's where I post my long form video, and then obviously coffee and comments. IG is where I post like funny videos, but then as well as snippets from the reviews I do. So check me on both. And I appreciate you guys.
Yep. Thank you. And yeah, check out Savon, and he will be doing his Oppenheimer review later this week. So find his YouTube channel, and you will find his content over there. And for me, if you are one of the new listeners that are enjoying the show or the episode, follow and subscribe to whatever you're listening on. Apple, Spotify, doesn't matter. Also, give me a 5-star review of my show on Apple, which is really helpful tremendously. It will help listeners find my show. Follow my social media at IS2S4M Pod on Twitter. My TikTok, I screen, you screen for movies. Be posting clips, audio, video clips of these episode segments. They'll be on each of these platforms, so they'll both be in the show notes for my Twitter and TikTok. I'm on YouTube, like I said. So if you're watching this on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, hit that like button, smash that like button, and hit the subscribe, hit the bell on on YouTube when the episodes drop, and email me at deskamlaji@gmail.com. Tell us your thoughts on your Oppenheimer thoughts, your Nolan film rankings, et cetera, about the strike, anything. If you want to reach me out, my email is open at deskamlaji@gmail.com. And yeah, Savan, we've done it. And there is nothing else to say to blow up the world except until next time, I'll be screaming you all at I Screen, you scream for movies. Nailed it.